Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of PMI KSA, it will be my pleasure to host Dr. Eyad Buhulaiga today. He's the Strategic Executive Director at PMI KSA volunteering with us. And he has a very wide experience actually in digital transformation as an expert with 20 plus years of international experience in the energy, oil, and gas sector. He has earned his BSc from University of King Fahd for petroleum and minerals, and he has his master degree from Nova Southeastern University, and he has his PhD from Johannesburg University. Dr. Eyad have awarded 1 US patent in 2021, and today he will be talking to us about the construction industry and how digital transformation is enabling this in this industry, and how actually as well the Saudi division 2030 is supporting mega and giga projects. So it's to you, Eyad, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good afternoon, good evening, and good day, wherever you are in the world. It's my pleasure to present here before you, and thank you to the PMI KSA for giving me this chance to present here before you. In our presentation or webinar today, we will talk about how the digital transformation is changing the way of managing and doing our construction project as we live today in Saudi Arabia. So talking about we are living today in the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then into the realization of the Saudi Vision 2030. Vision 2030 launched in April 2016, aims at fundamentally reforming the Saudi economy and society. The vision is built around the three primary themes that are building a vibrant society with a thriving economy and ambitious nation. This vision has different objectives and different programs. Each of these programs has resulted into different projects that will open a new areas of economic activities, and most importantly, it will create new sets of jobs that will help in driving the economic development in line with the vision. If we look at a subset of the projects that have resulted from the Vision 2030, we'll see the NEOM, the Red Sea, Giga, and Roshan, and these are the Giga or Terra projects that have been introduced, alhamdulillah, as well as the other projects like Dar'iyya, Amana, and others. All of these projects are under construction simultaneously, which, as you can imagine, it requires huge amount of resources, human power, as well as attention to the details, and most importantly, project management offices, not one office, offices to ensure that they are all executed and progressing as scheduled and on budget. And not only that, if we look at the other projects that have been introduced, like green energy, Saudi Green Initiative, Middle East Green Initiative, and so on and so forth, all of these projects are introducing new scopes that are unprecedented in the area, at least not in this area or this region, which complicate the process of finding the resources and the human power to be able to execute. So if we look at just a sample of these projects, we will see that the ambition, the pace, and magnitude can't be dealt with in the traditional manner. Harvard Business Review has recognized that we are in a new era, the era of projects. And this era, the importance of project management is significant, and the future of work is shifting from operation-based into project-based. And the list goes on and on. If we look at the ever-changing and the projects, the new projects that are coming or emerging every day. So this has mandated the concept of project economy, where people have the skills and the capability to turn the vision into reality. It focuses on maximizing the project value to stakeholders by the successful completion of the project, delivery of the product, with full alignment of the vision value streams. Of course, these projects at this scale cannot be dealt with in a traditional way. Innovation, collaboration, agility, and the deployment of the latest technology have to play a key role into the implementation. So if we look at the projects, the vision has created a dramatic shift as we are living in the ever-changing and ever-greening country, alhamdulillah, with the massive number of projects. So instead of having the project as a short-term task and the operation are permanent one, we are now changing to a continuous innovation and agile project that keeps pushing the limits higher and higher. And if we look at the traditional way of doing the projects, which is the waterfall projects, it goes into certain steps. This is no longer the only way of executing projects. In this ever-changing world, okay, companies cannot apply just the traditional way or the waterfall project way, and they need to have a toolbox of approaches. Among them, the agile way of doing the projects. So if you see here in the lower side of the slide, you will see that instead of going with the big bang or the normal way of doing the project from the planning until the release, we cut the scope into a smaller scope, or what's called minimum viable product, where the team will go and they'll try to execute and learn fast and fail fast. So if there is a failure, they will fail in a fast manner, and then they will adjust as they see applicable to help into reaching the final stage with the minimum rework and the minimum changes. So in the old world, they were expected to lead according to the predetermined plan and treat the decision as simple and binary. But now the change is that they won't have all the answers all the time, especially on those projects that we have a new scope, things that we haven't done before. I cannot just put all the assumption in the beginning and then move on. It has to be agile, and then we can alter and adjust as we move on. So this is where innovation and digital transformation come into the picture. The need of unifying the project lifecycle has emerged as a priority. It was called EBC X.0. So this is the way that we have all of these projects. We have all of these EBC contractors coming from around the world. We have the teams are scattered. So we need to have a centralized repository that will allow us to get all of this data in a standard way. It will allow us to speak the same language. It allows us to go through a structured way of handling and hosting and storing our data, starting from the feed and the project setup all the way into the final execution, inspection, and operation. And this is where the digital twin concept has came to the rescue, or the concept of the digital twin has emerged. So if you look at the different phases, or the different phases within the life cycle of the project, we will see that we start from the EPC, or the engineering, procurement, construction, and then we will do the commissioning, and then we will go into the operation and maintenance. Each one of those phases will require a digital twin, but the requirement and the data and the information that we will host and each one of these phases will differ as we progress into our project life cycle. So if we look at the engineering phase, for example, we will require a unified repository, okay, and the global integration for all the feed and the detailed design to be used by all the EPCs, regardless where they are in the world, okay? This will help us in standardizing the way of collecting the data and storing the data. So instead of getting data from, a Chinese EPC that is different than Italian or Spanish EPC, what we are doing is that we are setting a standard way of collecting the data that everyone has to follow. And this, of course, minimize the impact of trying to massage the data so that you can fix it and storing it into your repository. So it will provide also the 3D model. So it's a means of doing the design review. So instead of the traditional way, either you go to the design office where you fly the team, they will look at the 3D model and the smart drawings, and they start reviewing. Now you can use the AR and VR, or the augmented reality and virtual reality, where you can actually walk into the virtual construction site. You can check for the standards, the procedure, the minimum requirement, and ensure that the design, by walking into the virtual construction site, is meeting the minimum requirement or the standard and the procedure. This, of course, has a huge impact on the quality of the design. It avoids major and costly mistakes and major reworks. The studies shows that the use of this technology optimize the schedule and provide the cost avoidance of up to 30%. 30% from the design and the design phase of the project. Then we go into the procurement. Okay, the same digital twin that we have created for the engineering can be used also for the procurement, but now we will use it differently for building the master data, building the functional allocation, the material control, the purchasing, and the invoicing. All of this is done in the same tool and aligned to the asset tag and the smart drawing and the 3D model. So whatever we built, it will not be wasted. We are just augmenting it with the new procurement information. Same goes into the construction. So if we go in the construction, during the construction, the 3D model is expanded to include more dimensions, okay, that are the cost, the schedule, asset management, and cost safety. Construction safety. All of this is augmented to the 3D model. So within the 3D model, you can do simulation of what are the different ways of building the site, and then based on that, you can see what is the schedule associated with that way, as well as the cost, and then you can simulate and optimize the schedule based on this simulation that you will do. In addition, the new trend is now adding the circular economy inside the construction digital twin. So as you can imagine, these huge projects run simultaneously in the same time. There is no way that you can just think that they will have zero waste or minimum waste. So what they are doing now is that they are creating the concept of sustainability and circular economy, where they're going to create centralized repository for all the waste material and the spare parts, where the global projects can tap into this repository and try to reuse and leverage this waste as much as they can. In addition to that, some of the items that they are using now is like that they are using usually in the project, in the construction. The contractor will come and they will tell you this is the plan and this is the actual, and they will do the variance analysis based on the assumption or based on the claims of the contractor. the deployment of the 4 IR technologies and using drones, for example. You can send a drone into the construction site, you can take the picture, and then you can overlay it into the 3D model, and actually you can use that to verify the claims of the contractor about the schedule progression, and based on that you can do the variance analysis accordingly. In addition, within the construction itself, we talked about the construction safety. The use of the IoT devices, the edge computing, and the video analytics will allow us to minimize the safety incident that happen inside the plant. So you can put the video cameras in the construction site, and then the video analytics using the AI can spot any operators or worker that are not wearing their appropriate personal protection equipment, and then immediately send a notification to the construction site supervisor, telling them that you have a potential near miss, and then this can help in proactively preventing the safety incident from happening. In addition to that, during the commission, so again, the same digital twin is used for training and handover of the operation. So at least in the oil and gas, there is the operator training simulator, or the OTS. The same 3D model can be used to train each of the operator into the unit that they are going to operate on, and then they can integrate it also with the HR system, where they can do the certification and get certified on that unit from within the same digital twin. After that, we move into the operation, and in the operation, the targets or the way that we are looking for is the operational excellence, where we want to increase the availability, efficiency, reliability, profitability, as well as the health, safety, and environment. And this is where we create other dimensions. So we move from the cost and schedule into dimensions related to the profitability, reliability, sustainability when it comes to the air quality, solid waste, and wastewater. And last but not least, in the maintenance, it is the same tool that is used using the 4IR center and the IoT and the edge computing, but this time is for predicting the health of the asset that we are operating, whether it's a building or it's a plant and or an oil and gas refinery. We are going to monitor our assets and proactively using the IoT and the edge computing to sense the health of these assets, and based on that we can proactively provide corrective action to avoid incidents, as well as to extend the life cycle of the assets. So this is in a summary the different digital twins, and for the different phases, project phases, you will see that we have 8 dimensions in the construction that are different than the 8 dimensions into the operation, as well as into the digital twin. Now let's talk about how the AI can support into the project management. I mean, there are a lot of talks about the chatbots and the robotics or the RPA, the use of AI, and the use of I don't know if you heard, but with the new chat GPT, as well as the OpenAI, a lot of these amazing tools and powerful tools have emerged, and the use of it will support us, especially into this era of having massive projects with limited resources. So before that, let's define what is AI. AI is mainly the imitation and modeling of a human cognitive process by computer system, allowing the machine to mimic the human ability, such as to reason and discover meaning and generalize. So AI, of course, it uses the power of the computing and the massive data through the algorithm to identify the features, classify the types, and then learn the preferences and predict the action. So that's in a nutshell the definition of the AI. It is how it's used in the projects. It's used for identifying errors, automating planning, identifying paperwork inefficiency, and conduct site inspection. And this will come mainly in the next slide. Gartner is expecting that AI will eliminate up to 80% of today's manual project management task by 2030. And AI machine will take over everything from planning, data collection, tracking, to reporting, and so on. So if we look at the AI, it will use the historical and heuristic data to support in identifying the task, the budget, the known risk, the resource allocation to task, and then, surprisingly, it will be able to draft a project schedule, taking all of this information into consideration. So it will rely on the limitless processing capacity that they have. They will take all the historical data. So if I have a project with a certain EPC contractor that I already know, and they have worked with us before or work in a similar project and similar scope, I will get all of this information from the historical data, and then I will put it in the AI. And then the AI, it will break down the task list for me. It will identify the best resources that can support this project. It will identify also the budget, how much it will cost based on the resources availability. It will also identify the known risks based on the internal and external events. So all of this can be done in an automatic way. Now let's assume that your project has been delayed. How would AI will support in this? So the AI will come and they'll tell you, okay, you need to start in the next month rather than this month. So the algorithm, it will go and it will shift your resources around, to rearrange them for the upcoming month, and the new plan is ready in a single command. You can now use AI to facilitate and centralize the processes, back the schedule for your team in an optimal way, and that workload is distributed fairly without any impact on the project timing. So as you can see, it might sound like a science fiction movie, but this is actually some of the use cases that have been implemented or tried within project management. AI is also used for predictive analytics within project management. It's mainly to assess what will happen in the future. So with all the investment that goes into the AI market, data pools and data lakes, it will surely start providing increasingly accurate insights, enabling us to make prediction by eliminating the human errors and bias. Before, we rely into the expert judgment. Okay, now AI will take all of this information and it will give us, the prediction based on the available information. Not only that, it's not only a prediction, it will also help us by providing insightful and actionable information. So it's not only just a prediction, but it will also give us some recommendation to help in improving, the project target, whether the schedule or the cost or the quality, as well as it will help us by identifying automatic alerts. So the AI can be integrated with the weather information, with the geopolitical information, and based on that, it can give you predictive alerts on the external events that might impact your project. And of course, it will help you in the RPA, or the robotic process automation, as a new tool that are used to help in meeting the planning and the admin task by automating all of these tasks and avoiding the human intervention or the reliance on the human resources to do these tedious tasks. Sorry. So also, the artificial intelligence can support in modeling the risk and understanding the risk threshold. Furthermore, it can signal about negative risk and positive opportunity that are available for the project manager. So as you can see, it is a great tool for forecasting stakeholder behavior as well, and adjusting your management tactics. So if you have, we looked at for those who studied the PMP, you go and you classify your stakeholders, where on the supporter, where on the opposite, and the AI can actually look at their behavior and provide you some suggested adjustment to the way of dealing with these different stakeholders. It also can provide and capitalize on the opportunity to mitigate risk. So as I mentioned before, it will take all of the information that are available from the historical data, from the current data, from even they are doing now looking at the news, and they can decipher the hidden messages or reading between the lines between the news, and it can identify potential risks and mitigate the risk. Not only that, it can support for cost management. So it is difficult to underestimate the role of cost management in the project. AI can help the team in creating multiple cost models, compare them based on the different criteria and against myriad element, and then it can help you with building a dynamic pricing strategy. So to automate the invoicing. So based on the different risks that you have, based on the different changes into the external events, all of these will be crunched within the AI engine, and then based on that, it will give you this dynamic pricing strategy. After the project is approved and if it's in progress, it's also possible to monitor the cost metric in real time, draw to the project manager the most critical details, to provide them with the update on the operational activities like the invoice entry. So the invoicing and building the invoice and the entry, all of this can be taken over by an AI-powered machine. This will help in for the overall project cost to be reduced, and also to do the quality assurance and compliance. So again, instead of relying on human resources and doing the quality assurance and compliance, now AI can help in going into that or covering that specific scope and providing these quality assurance and compliance tasks in an automated manner. If the project manager is aiming for a strategic advantage, you should be able to have access actually to the increased observability and deep analysis that are a step ahead of the competition. And this is, I think we spoke about it with Abu Yahya before the session, where you can create the reproducibility of the project, or you can take the information that you are building for one project and then reproduce it across the different projects. And this is where you will identify the patterns and the minor changes that need to be done between one project to another based on the differences and the events. But the majority of the effort can be done in an automatic manner. So data analysis, in a nutshell, can do much more than just estimating the cost and schedule. Project managers, of course, will continue to steer the projects. Nobody will take the project manager job away. And they will continue to do the difficult decision and the unexpected obstacles. However, using AI for guidance and insight based on data will definitely support into managing the project in a much more optimized manner. And with that, I covered my topic, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions of yours.
it's really great actually presentation, and part of it is like really science fiction. So there is a lot of things, and I have a lot of questions actually from the audiences. And we will start with Mr. Mohammed Hamad. Can you please open the mic, Abdul Majid, for Engineer Mohammed Hamad? Okay, so until the mic is open, let's have the question from actually one question coming from Suresh Mani is asking, do you have this implemented here in Saudi Arabia and some projects up to a certain extent, or if not, where you can find it? Some examples, some samples.
So to be honest, I'm not really familiar with which technology is developed in which project, but I know that a lot of these technologies have been already implemented in this Giga technology. Are they using it at scale, or are they using it on a trial basis? I don't have the answer to that.
Oh, okay, fine. So then we have another question actually coming from what's the difference when you are talking about Giga project or mega project? What is the difference, and why, for example, when you are talking about NEOM is an innovative project and it's a Giga project as well. So you have a lot of things. So why you cannot make it like waterfall and understand exactly what is going on for this kind of project? And why you need to mix between agile and waterfall, and how we consider this for innovation projects, because some parts of it is really not known up when you are planning at the first place. So how you see things?
So I think again, I don't represent NEOM and I don't talk on their behalf, but I will answer the question and
Giga projects, yes.
in a generic form. So we are not saying that we cannot use waterfall in Giga projects, or we need to, or we have to use the agile way of doing projects into these Giga projects. What we are saying is that we should, as a project manager, have the flexibility to see where we will use the waterfall, where we will use the agile methodology, because it has to be a mix of both. I cannot just say that I will use either or. It is a mix of both based on the scope. Is it a scope? If it's a well-known scope, we have done it before so many times, then the waterfall is the way to do it. But if it's something new, and because if we are speaking in NEOM, for example, maybe you heard about their vision of building this metaverse. And this metaverse, they want, for example, anyone who want to buy an apartment in NEOM, they will go into this metaverse and then they will customize their apartment using the metaverse. So I will select the color of the wall, I will remove that wall, demolish it, and then put another one. If we use the waterfall way of doing this project, then it will fail. Because again, we don't have a solid requirement. It's something that is ever changing. So if that's the case, then each apartment within that building, so maybe the whole building, I can build it using the waterfall, but inside the building, the structure and whatnot, I design it in a way that it will allow for the agile methodology. Again, I'm thinking out loud. I'm not talking about how they are going to build their apartments.
Okay, great. Actually, I asked Abdul Majid to open the mic for the people who need to talk. So maybe Abdul Majid, you open it for Mr. Mohammed Hamad first. And while he's opening it, let's have another question. Actually, one question is when we are talking about project economy. Talking about project economy, usually, what is the difference from normal operation that we have generally because and now we are mixing between operation as well between projects, and there is a lot of innovations that we are doing. So how this is helping project economy, and why we are every time talking about project economy? Are we expecting more projects to come every day?
Again, and if we look at the example of NEOM, it's within the project. You see that every day they are introducing a new project within the NEOM Giga project. The same goes with the Red Sea. Same goes for Roshan. So it is not something that is solid. It's not something that is coming there So they have the overall vision. They have what they want to achieve. They have the vision 2030 that is giving them the North Star, if you wish, where they need to go to. But from within, there are some changes that are keep coming. So it's not that a project that I will do for a certain period of time and then I will submit it and then it will be operational. No, it will continue to be project after a project after a project. And this is where the concept of a project economy and the move from being operation-based into project-based, this is the new trend that is coming according.
Okay, guys. I have one question actually related. Do you think that AI will understand our emotions, the people emotions after some time, and it can decide upon it?
That's the ultimate goal. We are not there yet. This is again, this is where we are saying that the tough decision and emotional decision and all of these still are going to be done by the project managers and the project management team. So they will continue to be there at least for the next few years. Now, the ultimate goal for the AI that it will be self-learning, but this is nowhere near the future. At least from the available technologies is not getting there. So it has to be heuristic. It has to be based on information. Based on that, it will learn. It can be supervised or unsupervised learning, but in general, it requires data to learn from. It cannot learn by itself. And if you put it, for example, to do risk management for project, it cannot do cost management without you training it to do cost management. It's a task specific. It's not generic AR.
And some people are asking about the BIM, how you put BIM inside these technologies, inside AI. Is AI coming to BIM as well? And how is it mandatory in Saudi Arabia for BIM?
BIM is again, it's a building information management standard for building the buildings. It can complement, but it will not replace. So it's something that can complement. You can have the AI that is supporting the BIM, but it doesn't replace it.
Okay, fine. And I think now the mic is open for Mohammad Khan. If you want to talk, Mohammad, about.
Hello there. Thanks a lot, Dr. Eyad. Excellent presentation. I have a question about the data, because all this simulation, all this AI will be depending on data. So do you think that we should create some sort of a body where all the data is there? How do we manage to gather all this data? Because when we are going to remove the expert judgment bias, we need the data which is not the raw data, which should be a clean data. So how do we manage to get the right data?
So that's the role of the PMO, if you wish. So the PMO, it can be like you are acquiring the expert judgment. You can acquire the previous historical data of that specific ABC. As we speak now, there is no body that is hosting all of this data. But this is again, it's a great idea. Maybe you can patent it and then you can open your own business. But that's something that is not there yet. But I agree with you. I mean, the data has to be available. I don't want to mention names, but I know one of the APCs has already started doing that. It's available. It's an international APC that is working with the major companies. I work with them, and we have built this repository for their data for their project, their own project. They call it Project Excellence, and they are using this to help them in increasing their profitability and maximizing their margin by learning from their previous mistake, and they don't use a new project, a new data, and the new experience anymore. No, they learn from their mistakes, and then they take what they have done, they optimize their resources based on the historical data, they optimize the schedule, and hence increase their margin and also their competitive advantage against others.
Great. Now we have a question from Mr. Mohammad Hamad. Please, we have the mic open for you.
السلام عليكم.
السلام ورحمة الله. حياك الله والرحمة.
جميعا إياد، شكرا لك على هذه المحاضرة القيمة، الله يبارك فيك. اسمحوا لي أحول ما بين إنجليزي وعربي شوية عشان يكون النقاش أحلى. أول شيء يعني فخور إني أشوف شباب من شبابنا السعوديين بهذه القدرة من delivering such a high level presentation on such an advanced subject. أنا فخور بك يا إياد وبالعلم اللي أنت ما شاء الله بتمثله لنا في البلد. الله يوفقك. Now I have a comment to share and then a question. The comment where you talked about agile versus waterfall and how we can do both. It's very easy, and there are certain aspects of a project that need to be agile if you can understand what I'm trying to say. And I'll give you an example. يعني project proposal. You do a project proposal and then for 6-8 months, whatever. And then in some companies, you have to wait for a budgeting cycle that takes 2 to 3 months to make a decision on the budget. Then you're sitting for 3 months and waiting for a budgeting or a financial decision. These kind of things can be agile. And also a decision making on purchase order, a decision making on technology selection. And there are whole points في المشاريع that need to be agile. And I agree, we can do both agile and waterfall at the same time. Now the question I have for you, Eyad, هو موضوع إنه this level of AI and automation of things require a high level of people with the knowledge, resources, and the knowledge know how to handle this. And you need, we're talking about the PMC and the operation people, inspection, right? And then behind that, the contractors, the EPCs, the engineering companies, and the construction companies. And behind that, the vendors who's going to supply the equipment, the pumps, and the piping, and behind that, sub vendors. So you need to really to establish a base of all this knowledge. The project, each time, the project team will change, the contractors will change, the vendors can and will change. There is competitivity, there is bidding process, and you never know, you're going to end up with the same guy or not.
Okay.
What do you think of that? How can we handle this? إذا كل مرة ببدأ مع مقاول جديد وفندر جديد.
Well, that's where you need to start. Thank you for your comment. I totally agree with your example, especially in the costing and the dynamic way of doing the costing. And this is what we mentioned, where you have a dynamic cost generation based on the timing of that we are taking to generate a cost, or the different events that might happen and arise, and so on and so forth. Now, going back to your second question, I agree with you. I mean, so it's two-way, Rahman. So some, as I told you, I mean, some EPCs have started doing it for themselves. So they said, okay, for us, in order for us to learn from our mistakes, to host this data, historical data that we have, and to understand from what happened to us in a similar environment or similar project, they started creating this project excellence platform that they call. And this project excellence platform is becoming like a dynamic library for them. So you come, okay, I want to build, for example, a crude unit within Saudi Aramco, for example. Okay, I have done it, for example, before in Riyadh. Now I am doing it in Jazan or in Jeddah or in Yamba or wherever. So instead of going and starting from scratch and maybe bringing an expert from the other side of the world to help me on scoping this project, and he might not know, the norm within Saudi, what are the regulations and whatnot, or he has a bias from his own information. Now I'm plugging the information for Saudi Arabia, where actually I can do some changes into the parameters or the input into that model, but the majority of what I have done is going to be similar. And this is where the dynamic costing is coming from, because the inflation has changed, the geopolitical has changed, COVID, for example, has hit and whatnot. All of these things will contribute to the risk of that scope, as well as the availability of the resources. And based on that, it will generate for me this dynamic costing. Now, this is from the EBC side. The companies that are doing different projects with different EBC has also to establish this. So if I start with a project like I have 10 different EBC, the probability of the next project that I will go with the same EBC, or at least 50% of these EBC is very high. So yes, I might not do it from the second project, but as I am building my knowledge base, this is where I will have this historical data that will help me in the future by providing this solid base of data. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you did. I'm glad that the ABCs are doing something on their own. بس طبعا يعني الاكزامبل اللي انت قلته الكولوم, well then which technology, HISIS ولا AspenTech, لانه there are points بيتدخل فيها واحيانا بتاخذ وقت ما له داعي. انا يقعدوا في selection of the technology شهور, and at the same day يعني they are only two technologies حق مثلا a certain process. Anyway, جزاك الله خير, really excellent that to see this. So maybe we need also to build this, Eyad, is to kind of standardize things. And one of the issues we had with project management is really not using the data we had from the previous project. And every time we seem like starting from scratch. If we can standardize things, even the contracting side of it, even the technology side of it, even contractor selection, we need maybe to revisit that in order to build the base for an AI project sphere or AI project cycle kind of thing.
I think this is coming out, Abdurrahman, because actually it's also here in Saudi Arabia, we have a lot of activities actually to change the construction into industry, and making this meaning that there will be a lot of new regulations and new procedures, a lot of activities. And when we are doing this, then I think by the end of the day, we will have a lot of lessons learned managed by certain entities that's managing this kind of activities, and it will help others. So this is coming, I think, and it's part of the vision. Actually, you hear a lot about it, and Saudi Contracting Authority, a lot of entities talking about it. So I think it's coming, and it will help everyone. Of course, it will come gradually, but it's coming, and it's coming.
I think
good.
Rahman, this maybe PMI KSA can take the lead in establishing this. I think this is a great idea, and I totally support the effort of driving it. Maybe they don't own the infrastructure, but at least they lead the initiative to establish it, at least for Saudi, and then it can be expanded to be a global platform.
Right, and start with small examples. And again, Giga projects are not easy, and you really need to. I don't want to take time for others. Maybe others have questions.
Thank you. Yes, we have
في الأخير إنه بيقول إنه والله كويس project manager will still have a role يعني. The AI will give us, huh?
That's still not going anywhere, yeah.
Inshallah, but again, the human interaction is something that we should not underestimate, really. Really, this human interaction is a key element, especially with big challenges, big projects. You cannot automate everything. Anyway, I'll leave you. Thank you, Eyad, again for a marvelous, presentation. Inshallah, we'll save this presentation. Abu Yahya will save this and put it at our knowledge hub. With the permission of Dr. Eyad, of course. Huh?
If Eyad allows, we will present it. Yes, we will put it in the knowledge hub as well.
Of course, of course.
Yes.
يعدل فيها زي ما يحتاج.
Okay. We have another question from Mr. Waqar. The mic is open for you. Mr. Waqar, you can hear us? Okay. Until Mr. Waqar is, I see he's muted. Unmute yourself, please. Okay. And I have one question until Mr. Waqar is there. So the question is, what about cybersecurity? A lot of people are thinking about cybersecurity and IoT and these kind of things. So how you see all these kinds of things with security, from security perspective?
So security is not only for it's a common. It's in our mobile. It's our bank account. It's everywhere. So it is not something that is a showstopper, if you wish. There are a lot of cybersecurity guards that can protect the information. And again, the majority of the information, unless it's cost related, it can be classified as public knowledge. It's not something that can be classified as confidential. So from a security point of view, that there is if you look at the harm that can get if you lose some of the information is not significant. Because within the ABC you will see the documentation and the detailed design printed and in every office. So it's not really, I would say, a showstopper. Okay, it's important, but the technologies are getting stronger and stronger in protecting and in covering these technology or to safeguard the cybersecurity part.
Great. Mr. Waqar, are you able to talk? If not, okay, then I have another question about how, some people are asking about the current AI models. How easy to navigate these models and how easy to do this? Is it taking a long time actually to create the model, to train it, something like this, or it's realistic?
No, it's realistic. Again, the models are not previously, because of the limited computing power that you have. It used to take a long time, and it fails most of the times because of the amount of data. Now, we are not talking about simulation of a reservoir characteristic. It's just data. It's bytes or even gigabytes of data that can be deciphered and processed easily. It doesn't require that huge computing power because it's mainly data. It doesn't have a lot of simulation of the reservoir characteristic like what we are having in the upstream industry, for example. It's minute. So now the quality of the model, it depends on the quality of the data that you are putting in and how you are managing and managing the quality of the data. So as you know, the garbage in, garbage out. So if you don't contain the data and you select the right data that will allow the AI to learn fast and to learn correct from the first time, this is where you will continue to do fine-tuning of your model until it reaches to the level of maturity where you can rely on it to do or to make the decision. Okay, great. And actually, I have one question related to the unified engineering and the project execution. What are the tools? Can you name some tools or some technologies that are used today in this, and how mature is this technologies? Well, I don't want to promote one product against others, but how mature is it at least, and how we can see it in the market? Offline, but there are a lot of tools that have been used. At least in my experience within Aramco, we have evaluated more than 5 different technologies that are very mature, that are already in use across the world, and it is integrated with the different data sources, whether it's an ERP or it's a data historian or smart PNIDs or smart drawings and so on and so forth. And it can provide you the contextualization of the plant with the cross-reference table of all the data sources that you are getting. And then it will allow you also to use the AR, VR, or the augmented reality and virtual reality to walk into the plant, to look at the asset, and it will give you the asset health. You can see the temperature, the pressure, and the pulse if you wish for that asset. And also if there are any notification or prediction for asset degradation, the same tool will start flashing, that asset will start flashing. You look at it, you get into the what happened, the root causes, and what are the corrective action. All of this, I have seen it, and I looked at the participant, and I know that some of them have witnessed this as well.
Okay, great. And okay, I have maybe another question from Mr. Mohammad Hamad.
Yeah, the question I have is really Eyad على قضية educating the people. For example, the database, we're creating a database for the project and the 3D model. And yet clients wants to have hard copies. Without naming anything, the last project I did, we had containers full of documentation prepared by the client just to meet their satisfaction. Everything, even though we had everything electronically done. We had the model, we had all the documentation, but no, he wants a hard copy as well. And I'm sure this container rotted to hell on the site and nobody looked at it. We need to change the mindset.
So it's a change management and adoption management, and this comes from both ways, Rahman. So it has to come from the customer, where they remove the need of requiring hard copies and mandating the use of the 3D model and assets, the augmented reality and virtual reality. And this is, again, I don't want to mention specific companies, but the management has decided that, okay, instead of me taking all of these engineering team and then, taking them and let them travel to Spain or Italy or China to do this design review, what I will do is that I will take this augmented reality, virtual reality. They can do it from Saudi, and they don't, need to travel. And then they can actually, in the plant, for example, they can see the security clearance. They can see the measurement. Is it 500 meter or 300 meter or whatever? And from there, they can say, okay, no, this is, for example, meeting our standard or not.
Yeah, and you reduce huge cost for the project. Even same for the PMT. You don't need big team sitting in the contractor office.
Well, this is what I mentioned about the 30% of cost saving from the design review. This is actually where it's come from.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed. Actually, one last question actually we have is about quality assurance. When you are talking about quality assurance and compliance through AI, how mature is this? How you see this today projects or in innovative projects?
Yeah, again, on top of my mind, for example, if I look at using the drones, I can go there and I can take pictures, and from that picture, I can see again if they are meeting the minimum requirement, the standards. I can see the gold plating, for example. I can see if they are using the material that we have asked for, or a less grade or higher grade, and so on and so forth. All of this can be done by just scanning by the drone. The AI model will compare the actual picture with the material that they have, and then they can bridge the gap. They can identify, by the way, might not be 100% accurate, but they can say that, okay, by the way, maybe this material is either below grade or it's a gold plating. It's just, again, it's an example of on top of my mind, but you can, based on this, you can do a lot of quality checks when it comes to For example, if you provide the documentation that you have delivered all of these tasks, the AI can see and check, cross-reference it instead of going with the document management team. They look at the requirement and they check if you provided all the documentation and the task that you need for. AI can automatically spot that, okay, out of the 100, you provided 90. And this is the 10 missing component. I don't need to have a document controller to do this for me. The AI can do it. I can upload it into the system, and the AI can spot the variance.
Great, really interesting. Actually, thank you very much, Dr. Eyad, for this interesting presentation. And it's really amazing because it's having a lot of technologies that's coming in reality, and people are thinking it's far, but it's not far. As you see as you put in your presentation, Gartner is expecting that 80% of the project management activities will be done by AI in 2030, which is 8 years from now. So it's really coming. And I think this is coming really, so thank you very much. I need to make 2 announcements. Actually, we will send the BDUs for all candidates, for all people who attend this webinar through email. As well, the recording will be on PMI KSA YouTube channel, as well on the PMI website. And also the presentation, Eyad will share it with us, so we'll put it also on the, you can modify some if you need to modify some, but we need to put it as well in the Knowledge Hub, which will be on the website as well, PMI KSA website.
Sure,
so thank you very much. We have some notes from Mr. Mohammad Hamad before we close.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, sorry to interrupt you, Dr. Eyad, but we also have a webinar coming on January 11 on project risk management, the evolution there by Doug Oldfield. I hope I got the names right, just for announcement, so the team can attend with us, inshallah, the audience.
Inshallah. And I would like to thank you for inviting me to this and giving me this chance. It's a great pleasure to be part of this great audience and to contribute to PMI KSA.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks to all our attendees.
الله يبارك فيك ويوفقك إن شاء الله. السلام عليكم.
Okay. Thank you.
حياكم الله.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. And see you in the next webinar, inshallah. Okay. Assalamu alaikum.